Good. Well, thank you, everyone, for coming out. Feels like we haven't been gone quite that long. I want to just start by saying another thank you to Dave Clawson. Obviously, he had his press conference this morning, stepping away. For anybody who knows me, knows how important Dave has been and how much he's impacted me and my family's life. And so, it's a sad day, but it's also a happy day because I know he's doing what he feels like is right for him and his family. And so, just a special thank you once again to him and everything that he's done for me to kind of help me get where I'm at in my career. In terms of what's going on around here, not much. No, we are. It's about as busy a 2 weeks as you can get. Obviously between roster management and the portal and finishing up the last recruiting class and getting ready for a bowl game that we're all excited to play against USC out in Las Vegas, things are crazy. And so we'll talk however you guys want. So we'll open it up to questions from there.
Down front, Brett.
Along those lines, you grew up on the traditional bowl system and watching games on New Year's and around them. Are there any solutions in terms of the bowls, like Marshall having to, I believe they had to opt out of a bowl because of the portal and losing players? Is there anything that can be done moving forward with these kind of bowl games?
Yeah, I just think it's a problem that crosses a lot of things that aren't connected and talking to each other. So you have this football calendar that has playoffs and bowls and all of that stuff. You've got an academic calendar that isn't really in sync with that. And as the two of them sit right now, there doesn't appear to be very many options. We're going to start orientation on January 8th. It certainly wouldn't seem as though we'd be able to put a portal window together between the end of our bowl game and the start of our semester. Certainly that's going to matter, when the classes start for the spring. But obviously this is less than ideal to be going through what we're going through right now, roster-wise, with games still coming up down the stretch and all of that stuff. And so I don't have a great solution other than, at some point we're going to have to figure out some level of centralized leadership for college football because this is getting out of hand.
Second row on the right, Olin.
A couple things, Mike. I wanted to ask you about opt-outs. Do you expect there to be more, or can you say who's going to be who may have already opted out, or what's the situation for y'all?
Yeah, no, I think the three main guys, Shamar Turner, Shamar Stewart, Nick Skirton, I think it's pretty well known, if it's not, that those three won't be playing in the bowl game. We don't anticipate there being others. I think those will be the three. And I think that's another calendar conversation because, they've got the Senior Bowl practice starting a little over a week after our bowl game, which makes it very challenging for them because draft status for each of those kids can be greatly affected by what happens at Senior Bowl week and not nearly as affected by what happens in the bowl game. And so, we wish those guys well. They're training and getting ready for Senior Bowl.
I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but we see that in college football now, and it's not uncommon for significant numbers to opt out. So why do you think your guys, for the most part, have decided to play?
I think it probably speaks to culture. I think, when you talk about kids who've exhausted their eligibility, I think each one of them has a choice to make. And, we sit down and we kind of talk them through it. And I don't think it's possible to make a hard stance on it because each kid has his own objective. And so for some of our seniors, I think there's an opportunity for them to go out there, have a really big game against a name brand like USC and vault their status moving forward into NFL offseason. For some of them, it didn't make sense for them to play any more games. And so I just think it's an individual basis. Why I think our kids trust in the culture here. They trust in the coaches. They trust in what we're saying. And so I don't think for the kids who I think it's beneficial for them to play, I think they understand that and believe in that.
Third row on the left, Tony, and then Travis.
Coach, we had talked to, obviously, Torian, and we talked to Marcel Reed. They seem excited about the opportunity to suit up at least one more time this season. Can you talk about just the mentality and just the feeling in that locker room of the guys, who are getting one more chance and maybe guys who are getting a real good chance for the first time this year?
Yeah, I think when you talk about, and this is how we talked about it with the team, when you're trying to build a championship program and you're trying to build a championship team, that journey doesn't stop. And so in order to become a really good football team, you have to play football really well consistently over a long period of time. And the Las Vegas Bowl is another opportunity for our team to go through game preparation, go out onto a field, play another opponent, play for a trophy, all of those things. And so just because it's a bowl game, it doesn't mean that the journey stops or oh, it's just a bowl game and we can go out there and not play well and then just start over again. Like, it doesn't work like that. And we talk about that a lot in our building. And I just think it's a mentality of what we're trying to do around here, building a championship team. And so, obviously it's a great opportunity to go out and play a big school on the West Coast, and it's a Big Ten SEC matchup, and those matchups mean stuff. And so it's kind of, in our opinion, the first game moving forward to the 2025 season, and it'll kind of launch the offseason one way or the other.
Down front right, Travis, and then to the left, Alex.
Hey, Mike, I'm not sure the rules on this. Is there any of the transfer guys that you can talk about? Or
Yeah, no, I won't comment. We'll have a press conference when they get here, in school, when we actually know they're here, and we'll figure out all that stuff.
Okay, and with how have you, just generally speaking, how have you kind of felt the window has gone, and is there an outlook or groups that you still want to kind of bolster? What's kind of the transfer?
It is the epitome of putting your head down and grinding until the finish. And at the end of it, we're going to put one group on one scale and one group on the other scale and hope that our side comes out on top. And it is a constant effort every single day to make sure that that's how this thing finishes up. To keep score right now would be not smart.
And then finally, USC is a team that A&M hasn't played in 50 years. Exciting to get to be a part of two big programs coming together for the first time in a while.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you get a bowl game, I think location and venue matters, right? And so obviously going to Las Vegas, playing in the Raiders Stadium, that's a cool venue. It's a great opportunity in that regard. Matchup matters, and so playing a brand in the Big Ten, USC, and certainly with our recruiting on the West Coast and how we've crossed paths with those guys, I think it's a really cool opportunity. It's a really cool game, so we're excited to go out there and play.
Second row on the left, Alex, and then David.
Yeah, through this portal window, when you've been actually getting to meet with these guys, just what's been your main pitch for why A&M should be a place, they should come to, hopefully, you guys are hoping to take another step this coming season? Yeah,
I think when you look at us, I think we're bringing back an awful lot of starters. I think there's a few openings and a few opportunities for kids to come in and fill depth on a roster or jump into a starting spot in a roster and compete for it. And I think, generally speaking, when you look at the direction of this program, everything's trending upward. And obviously then you talk about Texas A&M and the facilities and the opportunities here, and I think it's a pretty easy sell.
And then, you mentioned the 3 defensive linemen that are going to be not playing in the game. Just how are you seeing defensive line shaping up for this bowl game in particular, knowing that you're going to be tapping into some of the backups throughout the season?
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity. I think you look at a kid like DJ Hicks, who's played an awful lot of football, and so we're very comfortable that he'll step in for Shamar Turner. And again, this will be his launch into next year, and so he's really excited. And obviously, we don't expect there to be much of a drop off there. Cassius Howell, very similar situation. Cassius played an awful lot of football for us. He played an awful lot every game, and so now he steps into the kind of number 1 spot, and so we're excited for that. Rylan Kennedy is going to get an opportunity to get an increased amount of reps, and and then it'll give us some guys to get some chance to get some of the young guys going and into opportunities, and so we're excited to see what those guys can do.
Second row on the right, David, and then to the left, Carter.
Mike, how difficult is it to game plan a team like USC or whomever you play in a bowl game when they're dealing with the same stuff that everybody in college football is dealing with? You don't even know who's going to be out there for them.
Yeah, I think bowl games now are going to start to play very much like openers. When you go into an opener, you kind of have a general gauge on what you think you're looking at, but I think you've got to go into every opener ready to adapt because you're going to have to figure it out a little bit on the fly. I think bowl games now are very similar. How they decide to adjust to their new personnel, how we decide to adjust to our new personnel. All of that is gonna impact the start of the game. And so I think you're gonna have a plan and a baseline of what you think you need to do, but I think you're gonna have to be really flexible and ready to adjust as the thing moves on.
Second row to the left, Carter, and then Chip.
Mike, do you feel like the portal is just crazier than it's ever been? And how do you navigate so much unpredictability with agents and back and forth?
It is for sure crazier than it's ever been. I think now more than ever, this sport needs somebody to step in and create some type of rules and regulations. I'm all for the portal. I'm all for NIL. I have zero problems managing either one of those situations. I think there is an awful lot of unregulated bad stuff going on right now throughout all of this. And, it's going to impact young people, and young people's futures. And so probably now more than ever, I think coaches are just crying out for somebody to step in and just regulate this thing at some level so that we all understand the rules, we all understand what's going on. I think there's so many easy solutions that we could get into, but somebody needs to do it, and they need to do it fast.
I'd imagine Greg Sankey's probably the one that you voice your concerns to. Have you gotten pretty good feedback about some of your solutions you've given him?
No, well, I think the challenge you have is like, I love Greg, and Greg's a tremendous leader for the SEC, but whatever regulations Greg puts in, if nobody can follow suit or you can't create uniform legislation throughout college football, then you're actually putting us at a you know what I mean? So it's not like you can't go to Greg and say, hey, we'd like to do this in the SEC only, and then all of a sudden it has to be across the board, right? It has to be national legislation, and just right now there's just none of it.
And I know you can't go into specifics, but just the plan at receiver with the guys you have coming back, the guys in the portal and the freshman class, just how great do you feel about that position going into next season?
Yeah, ask me again in a few weeks.
Down front, left, Cease, and then Chip.
So you don't know who a lot of the players are going to be possibly for Southern Cal. When you look at what they want to do offensively and defense, who do they remind you of a team they maybe played, or is that way off in left field too?
No, I think offensively they're a little bit unique. I don't know that. Obviously, Coach Riley has kind of come from the Coach Leach tree and expanded that on his own level, and has been doing a really good job running offense for a long time. And that system's always a little bit unique and different. So I don't know that there's anything that really marries it completely in this conference. Obviously, having worked with Coach Henson and Coach Heward for a while here, there's some familiarity with those guys and some of the thoughts and philosophies that they have. But no, I think it's a little bit of a unique offense for sure. Defensively, they've done a really good job. Coach Lynn, I knew a little bit when he was with the Houston Texans. We spent a day together up here when I was the defensive coordinator, and I think he's done a really good job of creating a baseline structure for what they want to do fundamentally. I think they've gotten better from last year to this year significantly on defense, and so they'll present us challenges for sure.
The far right, Chip.
Mike, what do you think the future of bowl games are, the ones that aren't involved in the loop for the playoffs?
No idea. Sorry.
Any confidence that it
I have,
survive?
in the world I'm in right now, I have not given a single thought to what's going to happen to the structure of the bowl games moving forward. Sorry.
All right, we'll go to the back behind the lights, Tyler.
Yeah, Mike, just following up on Josh Henson, kind of what was he like when he was with you here with you, and what's it going to be like kind of going up against another coach that you've shared sidelines with before?
I don't know from a game standpoint. I think it's a lot different. Obviously, he was the offensive line coach here for Coach Fisher, and so that was Coach Fisher's offense. Now it's Coach Henson kind of putting a blend together with Coach Riley of what the two of them want to do, and so I think that part makes it completely different. I think the neat thing when you go out to bowl games with people that you've worked with or people that you know is the families can reconnect with some of the events in the week leading up to the game, and it'll be good to see some of the people that were here in the past.
And then with Marcel Reed kind of establishing himself as a leader and the quarterback of this team this year, but still really young, how important is a game like this for him, specifically just to kind of get the reps and more under him before next year?
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity for him to start to step forward as QB1, and I think obviously this year was challenging for the quarterback spot. There was a lot of up and down in terms of how it played itself out. Marcel's a young kid, and we have tremendous amount of confidence in what he'll be in the future and certainly what he'll be next year. And so this is an opportunity for him to get a lot of reps as QB1 clearly and go into this bowl season with this being his team and go out and play a good game next Friday night.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you guys.